Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my student. Today, I'm here to continue with our topic, our model. Our model is all about the adolescent development. Remember, we have said that in this model, we are going to cover different domains like physical domain, emotional domain, social domain, intellectual domain or cognitive domain. And we have already covered the physical domain, and last week we have been started or discussed about the social domain. And in social domain, we have already discussed about the family behavior of the adolescent in this social development. And today I want us to discuss about the other thing which develop when an adolescent develop also. And directly I will start with the romantic relationship. Remember now, as a student teacher, it's very, very important for you to understand that there is nothing to hide in this arena of development, especially in this very, very important group of adolescent. We call it kwa Kiswahili tunasema ni umri wa mpito. So as a student teacher, you need to understand in this umri wa mpito what is very, very important for you to understand so that you can help them. In this romantic relationship, an adolescence is a developmental period during which a romantic relationship is typical first image. Remember now, his or her body attract him or her to initiate the relationship with the opposite sex. So now, the romantic relationship automatically emerge. Although romantic relationship during the adolescence are often short-lived rather than long-term committed relationships. You know why? Because at this particular moment, an adolescent, he or she doesn't consider what he or she like most, rather than they follow what they are both attracted with at the particular time. So adolescents spend a greater deal of time focused on romantic relationship. That's why you can find now is a girl or a boy normally focused to who loved or love him or her, depending on the situation or the environment he is in. Their positive and negative emotions are more tied to romantic relationship than friendship, than family relationship or school relationship. So at this particular of adolescent, normally majority of adolescent girl and boys, they consider much the romantic relationship with their opposite sex. So you can find if he has or she has a phone, normally I used to Google or to search who is a good girlfriend, who is attracted girl, who is attracted girlfriend, which shape is more good than others. That's what an adolescent think about. And at this particular moment, they normally like or love to read the romantic books so that she or he can apply it in their day-to-day life. And at this particular time, now uh, they will never listen to their family, to their parents. They will never listen much to their friends at school. They never listen much to their teachers. Their brain or their mind normally think about how they can build the relationship with the other girl or the attracted one and the like. Also, at this particular moment, romantic relationship contribute to adolescent identity formation and the adolescent emotional and the behavior adjustment. You know, at this particular moment, majority of adolescents, they think that once they have this romantic girlfriend or romantic boyfriend, is now their identity formulation. So they normally like to have a girlfriend, and they see that if they have a girlfriend or the boyfriend is now is a really girl or a really boy. So they are too emotional, and they are normally driven with these romantic emotions. So that's what they like. So if you are a teacher or a parent, if you convince them to leave their girlfriend or their boyfriend, my dear friend, sometimes they can even hurt themselves. So at this particular time, majority of adolescents, they need more education so that they can know what to practice or not to practice at that particular moment. Uh, Also, romantic relationships are central, connected to adolescent emergence of sexuality. Imagine at this particular moment is now the adolescent boy and the adolescent girl, they started to practice this we call sexuality. So they need much education of sexuality because they are driven with their emotion, as I said. So once they meet with their girlfriend or their boyfriend, majority of them, they can practice this we call sexuality. So they need more education about it, sex education, so that they can understand the advantage of practicing sex and the disadvantage of practicing sex and who or at what particular time to practice it. If not, then you can find a lot of emotion conflict and the like happening in the particular children or the particular age. Romantic relationships are a domain in which adolescents experience with new behavior in their identities. Remember now, remember this particular point, we say boy want to show their masculinity and girls, they like to show their femininity. So now the adolescent boy, adolescent girl, they experience a very new identity from the other part. It's like they are into the new world because they meet a boy or they meet a girl from a quiet, different family orientations. So at this particular moment, it's very, very important to make sure that we talk to them, we share different education, share different stories so that they can understand the advantage and disadvantage of this particular time. Among others, adolescents may develop sexual orientation. You know, in our society, majority of parents, they scared to share the sexual education with the adolescent. But thanks God that in majority of schools, they can invite some guests whom can share about this, we call it sexual education. So as a student teacher, a few months, a few years, you are going to practice, you are going to teach at schools, you are going to meet with these early adolescent girl and boys. So it's very, very important to make sure that they develop and they be oriented so that they can't practice it by ignorance. Let them know the important disadvantage of it. So we are continuing with this romantic relationship. In this arena of sexual orientation, when we say sexual orientation refers to whether a person is sexually and romantically attracted to either of the same sex or the opposite sex or both sexes. You know, the world now is changing. And remember that our adolescent meet, as I said, we meet with the boy and girls from different societies. So you may find in this sexual orientation, they need to understand this education, because once not, you find some adolescents, they are attracted with the opposite sex. Some, they are attracted with the same sex. That's why you can say the issue of tunasema in Swahili tunasema mapenzi ya jinsia moja. So you can find that is very, very important for them to understand what not to practice and what to practice at this particular moment. Because if we fail to educate them, then we can end up with a very vulnerable society. So you can imagine how important it is. For example, lesbian or gay or bisexual or transgender, an individual come to perceive him or her is such, and you know, it is normally happening at this particular moment of adolescent. So if an adolescent can't receive this good education of sexual education, then they can end up in this being lesbian without any education, end up being a gay without any information, or can transgender him or herself without any information. So what we need now, we need to educate our adolescent, because if we educate them very well, they can choose wisely. That's all about a romantic relationship in this social development arena. So can we jump? Any questions so far? If you have questions, then you can write it down there, and then I can explain it tomorrow in our Google meeting. Please don't hesitate, or don't go with your question. So if you have any question, then you can ask. Then I can read it. Then I can narrate and explain more tomorrow. Can we jump to the intellectual development? Sometimes this intellectual, sometimes we call it cognitive development. What is that? And why is it important for us to understand the adolescent development in this arena of intellectual cognitive development? Why is it very important for us to understand? Because intelligence is difficult to define. However, most of scholars have emphasized on verbal ability, on practical problem solving, and the social competence. Most of scholars, they define this intelligence is like that. When you find a student or an adolescent have very good verbal ability in explanation or practical in problem solving, then we call it intelligence. But intelligence also can be defined as a ability to learn quickly, solve problems quickly, understand the complex, abstract issues, and generally behave in a reasonable or rational or purposeful manner. Other scholars, they define the intelligent like that. When someone have ability to solve the problem very quickly. You find a problem, you solve it very quickly. Sometimes understand the complex issues. You find the student can explain the complex ideas, maybe in mathematics, in physics, in psychology, or in any other discipline, or in life. Can explain it in a very simple manner, the complex idea in a very simple manner. Then we call it is a intelligence. Sometimes generally behave in a very reasonable. You find a child reason without before making decision, or an adult or an adolescent reason in a very nice point, which attract everyone to listen. We call it intelligence. So in psychology, we measure intelligence. We call it IQ. I think the word IQ is not a very new terminology to you. IQ, so I leave the task to you. I want you to go to the library and to find the formula of applying the IQ to an adolescent or to a person. So save it. Sierra, make sure that everyone go or enter or read some books. And the list, you have the list of books in your course outline. So better refer the course outline and quickly go to the library and find the IQ formula so that you can understand. You can find that it's like a mental age over chronological age times 100. That the answer will be your IQ level. So it's very simple. You can even calculate it in your own, so and you can understand the IQ of yourself. So we are continuing with this cognitive development. Cognitive development refers, I said this cognitive, or sometimes you can say intelligence or intellectual. So intellectual is the same as cognitive. We normally use it interchangeably. So when we say cognitive development or intellectual development, what is that? Refers to the way in which people acquire various cognitive abilities and how such abilities changes over time. I said it's the way a person, is the way an adolescent acquire various cognitive abilities and how such abilities changes over time. For example, of cognitive ability is like remembering, problem solving, imagination, creating, fantasizing, and the ability of using symbols. All these are examples of cognitive abilities. So, as a teacher, it's better for you to make sure that you help your adolescent boys and girls in this arena of cognitive. By what? By making sure that you train them to understand how they can be creative in their own environment. Remember now, we are using a syllabus here, we call it a Mali syllabus. And the Amali syllabus wants a student to apply what he or she learned inside the classroom and apply it outside the classroom in their home environment, school environment, or in any other social environment. So we teachers, we have to make sure that our student, our adolescent student, they apply it. They learn how to imagine, to make imagination, or to practice imagination. You know, imagination is not overthinking. So in this particular age of adolescents, majority of them, they like to overthink. But we psychologists, we encourage them to imagination, to practice this we call imagination, to practice this we call problem solving. Don't help to solve everything. No, 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 no. They have to practice to solve by themselves, to find the solution, to apply what they have been taught in the classroom in their day-to-day environment. In psychology, we have a psychologist known as Jean Piaget. Jean Piaget in the age of 1896 to 1880. This is a Swiss psychologist. They laid a very good ground in understanding the cognitive development. And he proposed the four different qualitative cognitive development stages that individual go through, that any adolescent in this world should be passing through all those stages of development. What did he say? He said that he proposed as I said, the four stages. The first stage, he called it sensorimotor stage. Sensorimotor stage. And this stage happening or take charge in from birth to 2 years old. At this particular time, a child or an infant progress through reflexive. I know majority of you have learned the biology. Biology is core and common cause, common subject. And I think you remember the idea of reflexive. He explained that at the beginning of developing the thought of human being, it is started at this particular age. And he insisted that infant construct an understanding of the world by coordinating sensory experiences with the physical experiences. I think everyone remember the sensory organ. Can you mention them in the chat box? You just mention the sensory organ so that I can understand if you remember what you have been taught at the O level. And if you don't understand, then while you are finding the formula of IQ, then you can read it about the sensory organ at the library. Yeah. Then at this particular sensory motor stage, behavior primary motor, like throwing, like shaking things. Then if the child failed to throw things away at this particular stage, then we can say the particular child is delaying the development. So you can send them to the hospital, him or her to the hospital, so that the doctors, pediatrician, we call them pediatrician, the doctor of children, we call them pediatrician. They can know how to help them. Because we expect at the age of 2, every child have ability to throw, to shake things and the like. At the age of 7 to 9 months, the object is permanence. Understanding that the thing exists even if they are not seen. That's why in this particular age, the age of 7 to 9 months, the child can see the chair while they're crawling. Instead of crawling away, then they can say, please, can I pass? They believe that the particular chair can't move. That is their cognitive ability at the particular age. But the second stage is the pre-operational stage. Remember, we are still discussing about these Piaget ideas. Piaget, 4 stages of development. And the second stage is pre-operational stage. It is started with from at the age of 2 years to 7 years. At this particular age, a child begins to represent the world with the words and the images. That's why at this particular moment, you can find a boy child or a girl child, you draw a thing and say, I'm drawing the world. I'm drawing the cow. I'm drawing the particular thing which happening, which is there in his or her environment. So the words and the images reflect increased symbolical thinking and they go beyond the connection of sensory information and physical action. So at this particular time, you find a boy or a girl like to draw things, to draw a wall, and there is a very, very big conflict in the family because you find you paint yesterday evening and tomorrow morning the child draw a thing in the wall. So we teachers, we better share these ideas to the parent, to the community, to see that this is very normal. Don't give the very corporal punishment to the child because he draw in the wall. This is normal in development. Also, in this particular pre-operational stage, the child or children use symbols like words and images to think about a thing. Do you understand my point? They use symbols to think about a certain things or to represent his or her ideas to the parent, to the guardians, to the fellow peer, and the like. They confuse the way things appear with the way they must be. There's so many what and why questions happening at this particular age. Why this? Why this? Why the star up? Why there is a big, big, big mountain? And lower, why the ocean? Why the rain? Why the cold? You find the children are normally likes or loves to ask such question like that. So, as a teacher, as a parent, it is very, very important to understand. So, for example, you can help even the teacher who teach at this particular age, the age of 2 to 7 years, the child now is like in standard 2, some of them, few of them standard 3, majority of them standard 2, some of them standard 1. If he or she delay, like those with a disability, you can find them in special schools. So once you find him or her draw a certain thing in an exercise book, please, you just educate him and show them the real way, what is supposed to do. Don't punish them without any explanation. So at this particular age, the child now need more explanation. And The third stage, or which proposed by the Piaget's concrete stage, concrete operational stage, concrete dash operational stage. This stage here happening or appear in age 7 to 11 years old. At the age of 7 to 11 years old, the child can now reason logically about concrete events and classify objects into different sets. For example, thinking is more flexible. They realize that one's own thought and feelings are unique, may not be shared by others, or may not even be part of reality. They understand that the way they think and the way someone thinks is quite different. And now they started to understand that what they think is not very important for someone to think like that at this particular age. So sometimes you can find the child, or at this particular age, they can think and remain silent. But below 7 years old, once they think, once they speak what they want, or they speak what they think. Can we jump to the fourth stage? We call it a formal operational stage. This is from 11 years old to adult. So if you are above 11 years old, and I believe you are in such a group, we call it a formal operational stage. Adolescent reasons in more abstract. This is very, very important to understand. Another thing is thoughts are more idealistic. A lot of ideas. I want to be this, I want to go there. And you find at this particular age of adolescent, in this stage of formal operational stage, majority of them, they think that I want to go Mamtoni. Taka niende Mamtoni. Taka nikatafute hela zangu. Mimi habari za shule nini? Sio kivile. Shangaa kwambia, mimi bwana shule sio kivile. Mimi bwana shule sio kivile. Mimi nataka kwenda Mamtoni. Mimi nataka kwenda Mamtoni bwana. Sasa wewe kama mwalimu unataka umweleweshe kwa nini asome? Kwa nini anavyotaka kwenda Mamtoni asubiri kwanza? Because they are too emotional and they want thing. If they want a thing, they want right now. A lot of teens or adolescents, they are able to argue, debate, questions, and resent taking things for granted. They have this behavior of taking things for granted. They feel and they think much more mature than he or she did as an infant and a childhood. So they reason, why this? They can understand now, I'm from the poor family. Oh, I'm from rich family. Oh, my dad have a very big shop. At this particular time being, they understand their background. They understand everything in their society. So Piaget categorized formal operational stage into 3 categories. Hypothetical stage, or we call it deductive and inductive thinking. Reflective thinking or metacognition, or interproposition logic. So what is that? hypothetical stage. Adolescent can develop hypotheses and then systematically deduce or conclude the best solution to a problem. So at this particular moment, an adolescent now can understand the problem happening, and then they can come up with a solution of that particular problem without any sharing to the mother or the father or any other guardian. They can reason from the specific to general and back again